So we've made a list on a piece of paper of our pages that we want, and then we've added them into Stephanie's site. But we're not ready really to load the pages up and show the menu and stuff, because remember, we've got a lot of design stuff to work with first. So this is where we're trying to get. So the next stage after you've set your settings, you've given the site a name, is, and you can go ahead if you want and add the pages into your site. But then the next thing we really want to do is we want to design the site a little bit. So we can do the designing of the site within the thesis options. So we go to design options. You open it up. Now every theme is going to have slightly different options. So this particular theme, the reason I like it is I feel like the options are all really, once you learn them, you're you can do them very quickly. There's columns. There's column order. This one allows you to have 3 columns or 2 columns. And what that means is when you look at Stephanie's site again, we're looking here, she looks like she has 3 columns here, but really she doesn't. She's got a main body, and we've just created 2 areas here, which I'm going to show you how to do. And then we have a sidebar column. So she's got, really it's a 2-column site with a main body and 1 sidebar. If we wanted this to be main body and 2 sidebars, we could do that as well with Thesis. That's the cool thing, is this site allows you 3 columns or 2 columns. Now here's a really important thing. Pixels are crucial. You need to know how wide to make your site. So I always say, rule of thumb, if you want the site to show up on iPhones and iPads and everywhere, that you need to make it about between 980 and 1080 pixels wide. So if we were to make her site a 2-column site, that would mean 750 in her main and say 250 in the other. That would put us at around 1,000. So that's a good width. We want her content on the left, and that's going to be the content that comes from a page. And then we want her sidebar on the right. Now her sidebars are going to appear, they're going to come from widgets. And when you turn sidebars on, they're going to appear on any page that you allow sidebars to show through. So they're consistent across the board. So you want to think about sidebar pieces that you'd want to see throughout all your sites, all your pages that you want to have sidebars on. So a contact now, meet Stephanie, follow me. In her site, we have these sidebar pieces, and they appear in some of her pages and not in other pages. I think, does this page have? It looks like we've turned them on all of our pages, but if we wanted to turn them off, we could turn them off so that they don't appear on all of her pages. There we go. So there's a page without sidebars. The turning on and off happens within the pages when you go to build them. But in this area, we're saying that across the board, the main default will be 2 columns with a main body content area and a sidebar. Okay. Then we have this big ass save button. You can make a bunch of changes and then click the button, but don't get too far ahead of yourself without clicking the button, because sometimes you can time out, sometimes your internet can crash. I mean, it's just good that if you're going along and making changes, you do a save. Now for her colors, I've already pre-picked her colors and placed them in here. But if we look at this other site where we don't have her design options and her colors in, if we go here, we're just going to see kind of a blah color. But on this one, we've already picked the color. So we're going to go ahead and put her primary text color and her body here. I'm going to go back and grab that other color again, and her link color. Here. So that means that whatever she links, there's a site background color, there's a page background color. You can add interior effects, borders. So right now, on this site, you know, we have this kind of piece in here, and I don't really want this in here, all these lines. So I'm going to turn those off. But I think it'd be cool if we had a shadow effect on the outside of it. So I'm going to add those in. So now I'm going to do a big ass save button. And I'm just going to see what the ramifications of what we just did were. Okay, so now we have this line across the top, but as you can see, the line going down is gone. It looks like we still have 2 sidebars, so I better double check that we turned off. Okay, we still have 3 here, so let's make that 2 column. 750 and 250, we're going to have the content on the left. And I'm going to go big ass save button. Now when I go to update this, we just have 1 sidebar now. I really don't like this photo box. It's a terrible, terrible photo box. There's great photo tools out there, and this is a terrible one in Thesis. So I always turn it off immediately. It's one of the first things I do. So that exists under your multimedia box. Okay, turning it off. You can also mess around with your fonts, and these can be for your whole entire site or just for your body. There's a great, awesome, huge selection of fonts here. So if you want it to be really wonky and weird, you can do that. I mean, there's a lot of fonts in this site, in this program. So now it's all sort of handwritten looking and really hard to see. But there's all kinds of options. I'm going to use Century Schoolbook because that's the closest to Century Gothic. Okay. So we're starting to get there. I mean, we've got a color in that's we're getting some color in there that's starting to look like her site. But we really don't have any of the graphics in or the real look and feel. So I think what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and, you know, we'll take a look at putting a header in there, because I think that will immediately give the site more definition. So the header, remember our site, we've made it 750 by 250. So you want your header to always be slightly larger, and it will the program will scale it back. So if our website is 1,000 pixels wide, I'd say go 1,060 for a header. But if you aren't sure of the size, click on the header image here, and it'll tell you 1,056 it wants. It's like, okay, great. We'll make sure our design that we're creating for our header is 1,056. Well, one of the things I get from people is like, well, I don't know how to use Photoshop. How would I make this? Well, if you have a Mac, you have a tool called Preview. You can just crop any photo to 1,056 and type some words on top of it. Type your website name on top of it. And then save that as a JPEG. Okay, so you just want to have a JPEG file. And I've already pre-built a bunch of files. So let me just quickly browse through these files and show you guys what they look like. So that's a background. Here's a little icon. Picture of Stephanie. A Book Now button. And this is where a graphic designer friend can come in, or if you're a graphic designer yourself, or if you hand draw things and scan them, you can really do some cool stuff. But you really want to, look for stuff online. You can buy little icons. There's a lot of stuff out there. So it's just all about being creative with finding pieces.